Hey up, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Jonny Mozza's Lessons in Confidence. And today I'm not here to talk about that film, I'm here to talk about an album I've been working on for the past, I want to say, year and a half, called Decisions in Another Language, which for me has been a form of making music as a form of therapy. I've been using the music as a way of expressing myself. So the album composes of 7 tracks, there's 7 tracks that make up the album. And I'm basically just going to go through each track and I'm just going to talk about what was going through my head when I was making it, and where my influences kind of came from and that kind of thing, and how you could make this sort of thing yourself. So I'm going to do it track by track because it's a semi-concept album about I'm going to get it out of the way, be blunt. I got divorced last year. Wasn't my thing, it was her thing, so whatever. But I used the album as a way of sort of figuring that out. There's one thing you're going to have to get used to, cars and stuff. The first song was called Communication, and the song Communication was all about the idea of someone leaving a relationship, and it was me trying to empathize with my ex-wife's point of view and trying to figure out, maybe trying to see things from the other point of view. And because it's very easy to get caught up in your own ego and like, yeah, I'm totally in the right and you're totally in the wrong and all this sort of stuff. And I wanted to get away from that. I wanted this to be a evenly balanced piece of art that gets things across in a balanced way where neither person is made out to be the hero nor the villain. Okay, it's not that kind of thing. It was a fairly amicable breakup. And we don't talk anymore, but it was an amicable, more or less, breakup, and I used the album as a way of getting over it. And the song Communication in particular, I originally composed the music for it for an old project I was doing called the Morrison Royalty-Free Suite, which was basically my own former music school where I taught myself how to record and compose and arrange music, essentially. And if you listen to Volume 1, it sounds awful, absolutely unlistenably bad. And Volume 2, fairly similar, but a little bit better because I introduced a couple minor elements. And then Volume 3, it starts to get a bit better, another car. And then Volume 4 gets better after that, copyright. And then Volume 5, it started to get semi-decent, and then Volume 6, I feel like Volume 6 was when I finally started to feel semi-proud of my work. And then Volume 7 came around and I was refining what I did on Volume 7. And then Communication was a song I wrote for Volume 8, and it was the mainstay of that album. And it's one of my favorite pieces, so much so that I actually revisited it for this album. I wrote that during our breakup, because it was one of those breakups that lasted a few months, on and off kind of thing, and then it was done. So I wrote it in the midst of all that, so it was a very emotionally charged time, and emotional charged times are exactly what you need to create sincere forms of expression. When I was working my old job at a bar, I was talking to my boss while we were doing I think we were doing the bottle up or something like that. And I was telling him how I was working on music and stuff as a form of just trying to not think about things, not think about the 6.5-year relationship that had just gone down the pan. And he said something that really stuck with me. He said that breakups are the best time to make songs because all the best songs were written by people going through a hard time. And I really resonated with that, and I kind of took that to heart. And I wrote a lot of the songs, the lyrics for the songs around that point in the first couple of months afterwards, but I made sure to sit on those lyrics and not rush to release anything too quickly, because I knew that my emotions would change and that in a couple of years I might look back on this project and go, oh, Jesus Christ, that's a bit cringy, that kind of thing. Another car. And Communication was all about empathizing with the other side of the coin. And then so I guess this is it. Well, because Communication was a very, the phoenix rising from the ashes, and a very liberating song from my ex-wife's point of view that I wrote, trying to empathize with that point of view. And then so I guess this is it. It's a different song where it's more about, bit more melancholic, a bit like, oh, had to be done, didn't it? You know, got to do what you got to do, that kind of thing. So it's a much slower song, and it's kind of an accompaniment to the song Communication. Then after that, you got the song Buongiorno Straniero, which is Italian for Good Morning Stranger. And that song is more from my perspective of being left behind and the isolation that kind of came, and the immediate anger that kind of came after that, and like trying to come to terms with it, that kind of thing. It's a much more melancholic and slow song, more inspired by Pink Floyd and that kind of thing. It's a very progressive song in that regard. It's got like multiple time signatures, and it's in Lydian mode and stuff like that. And I think it modulates at a certain point to D minor or something like that. I can't quite remember. But it's a fun piece of music that took an awful lot of tweaking to get right. Then what have you got after that? Conclusion Delusion, which was probably the last song, second to last song that I wrote for the album. And that's all about the idea of people chasing closure and hurting themselves in the process, and how closure's kind of bollocks and you don't need it. And it's a nice idea that should remain that. It should remain a nice idea. And sometimes you shouldn't allow those ideas to realize. So it was a very, it's probably the heaviest song on it. It's the most metal song on it. It's got an actual metal breakdown, which I really like. It goes fucking mad, you know, I love it. It's in 6/8 time, and it's very simple composition, 2 chords. It's capo is on the 2nd fret, and then it's A minor shape, and then a C shape, and that's it for the entire thing. And then the breakdown is just, I think it's like a B, just a power chord, just doing that, and that's it. So that's a fun sort of song. So I'm going to move that because he's going to try and get past.
What are you filming, man?
I'm just filming a bit of promo for an album I'm working on.
You make music?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your name?
Josh. Oh, sweet.
Yeah? Nice to
Nice.
meet you then.
Yeah, you too, man.
Have a good one.
Take care, man. This is what I'm fucking talking about, man, when it comes to, you know, just going with the flow. You do stuff and stuff works out for you. Just got a music video gig out of that. Or we might do a collaboration or whatever. I love making all kinds of music. I love music. It's another car, so I have a bit of a little bit of banter in the meanwhile. So what was I on? I was on Conclusion Delusion, and that was all about the idea of closure being a bit bollocks. And then you've got the song Butterflies, which is based on a real event that happened to me. I went out to Peckham, and I was filming a concert as a gig, and then I was on the way home. It was like 2 a.m. and this woman comes up to me, and she's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And she thought I worked for the TFL, and I was immediately kind of stricken by her. I don't think she actually knows I'm stricken by her, but if she sees this, which I don't think she will, then you know, I do like. I mean, I know you've moved away now. Which is, we went on a date and it didn't really work out. Not because she had to move away, but I think it was fairly amicable. I might have come on too strong because I haven't dated really. I mean, I've been married, but I've never really dated. I kind of just got like snatched up. So that was the first date I've ever been on. So, you know, sorry if I came off a bit too hard, but you know, I made the song at that exact point because I was so inspired to make something that felt like a love song, like a true love song, because I knew that I couldn't make a love song about my ex-wife that felt genuine, because it would just come across as fake, because I wasn't in that mindset. So I just kind of worked my way around it, and you know, it wasn't a long-lasting thing. It was an infatuation that lasted a week or two, and then she had to move away, so it didn't really work out. But I'm really glad that I managed to get that moment in my life down as a song, as a piece of expression. And it's probably my favorite song on the album. It's another easy one. It's 2 chords. It's capo's on the 1st fret, and it's a F chord that goes into an A sus2. Really fun chord progression. Little bit fucky. It's technically an F sharp Lydian, I think. I think it's technically an F sharp Lydian, or something like that. It's a bit weird, but it's still a simple song, and it sort of sounds a bit 80s indie, kind of a bit lo-fi, that kind of thing. And then after that, you've got a song called The Girl on the Balcony, which was originally based on the story of another story about that same woman who I went out to meet some communists, right? And on the way back, just gonna hide that for the wind. On the way back, I was on the bus and it was like 2 a.m. and I was on my phone thinking of ideas for this film that I was working on at the time about two people that meet and form a relationship, and it's kind of a lovey story. And I was sort of working with someone else, and I was trying to. There was this idea that the phones would get swapped, and they'd have to meet up so they could exchange the phones back. And I kind of thought, we could do something more interesting than that. So I was trying to think of how they could meet, and I'm on the bus, and the bus comes to a stop, and I'm kind of leaning like that on the top bunk, on the top deck of the bus, and right in front of my eyes, the woman that I wrote the song Butterflies about, that I met on the bus, she's on the balcony at some kind of I don't know, party or like gathering of friends or whatever, and she's looking back at me, and I'm not. And there were some other people that were on the bus that were like, "Oh, there's that person. Oh, let's all wave," and they all start waving, and she starts waving, and I'm sort of like, "Is she waving to me?" So I kind of do a bit of that, bit of that. The song didn't end up going down that road because I couldn't quite find an interesting way of writing it. So it kind of became more of this general idea of being about a woman that is very lofty with her. She's a very pseudo-deep person, and trying to understand that person is trying to understand someone that is apparently so deep, but maybe they're not really as deep as they think, and they use a lot of pretentious wordings and have a lot of ideas that they think are very lofty but kind of aren't. So it was kind of about that, and it was an excuse to write some pretentious-y, airy-fairy kind of lyrics. So I kind of enjoyed that. That's another song since 6/8. That's probably the slowest sort of ballad on the song, next to Buongiorno Straniero. It's another one of them. And then the final song is called Why These Things Happen, where I finally got to tap into my krautrock, my love for krautrock, my Neu and early Kraftwerk and Can and Faust and more recently Camera and some certain King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard songs and stuff in that vein. So I was really able to tap into my love of that, and the song basically just taking it out of the emotional aspect of what the whole album is about, and just basically it's just a list of statistics really, and that's kind of what it's about, and that's the way that the album ends, and that's pretty much the entirety of the album. Then it closes out on this kind of really messy, fucky kind of jazzy kind of jam that goes on for a fair bit, and then it ends like that. And yeah, in terms of how I made the album, it's basically me recording all the instruments. I used MIDI for the drums. I used a combination of Modo drums, which is IK Multimedia, and I also used Stephen Slate drums, both of which I used all my VSTs were free. I didn't pay for any of them. The main expense of this album was batteries for my Zoom H4n. What I would do is, before I had an audio interface that I really understood and how to work it and stuff, what I would do is I would put the backing track on an SD card. You've got to title it TRK1-00, and then maybe 01, 02 for each subsequent version that you put onto the SD card. And then you put it onto the SD card, put the SD card into the Zoom, and then you would load up the Zoom, and you would have the Zoom mic'd up. Zoom is a little handy recorder that you use to record audio. And what I did is I used my own playing and then put it through the Zoom, and then I would take the recordings off the SD card, and then I would put them into Adobe Audition. Not like a DAW or anything, I used Adobe Audition. The only reason I used a DAW was so that I could make the drum grooves out of various loops and stuff that were available in the VSTs that I was downloading. Plus I also downloaded extra grooves, and I would adjust things here and there. I'd add cymbals, or I'd move something from being ride to being hi-hats and shit like that. And from there, all that was really left to do was just record all the tracks, record the guitars, the vocals, the bass, the electric guitar, the lead guitar, the synths if I had synths in it, the pads and stuff, everything really. And then it was just a case of putting it all together and getting it done, sitting on it for a bit, because now that the album is done in a demo form, I want to get some real musicians together and play this music as a live band, as a real performance. So what I've been doing lately is I've been learning how to sing and play the songs at the same time, and learn to be a bit of a front man about it and start doing like all that kind of shit, you know. And I'm just having a lot of fun with it. So if you want to be part of this album, well, first that's a cue to play a bit from each song. So this communication. You see how it's a little bit kind of it's like Pink Floyd, but a bit thicker, a bit bigger, and a bit faster. It's a bit of a jam kind of thing. It's a song that you can kind of improv over. Very simple as well, apart from the fact it modulates from C-sharp Dorian to C-sharp minor. But apart from that, it's a very simple song. And then you've got So I Guess This Is It, which is a much more slower ballad. That's in C minor, and it's something like that. That was the first song I made for the album. And then you've got Buongiorno Straniero, which is a very bloody complicated song actually. It's all got all weird fucking chords in it. It's in Lydian, it's a very slow song, 61 BPM. Not 60 BPM, because I had it at 60 BPM and that felt too slow, and then I put it up to 65 BPM and that felt too fast, so I just did 64 too fast, 63 too fast, 62 too fast, 61, all right. Then you've got Conclusion Delusion, which is again a very easy song. That's what it sounds like. And then Butterflies, sounds like that. Then Girl on the Balcony, sounds like that. And then Why These Things Happen. You've probably gotten a bit bored of listening to all that, but if you haven't, then shoot me an email, or actually put a comment down below. I'd like to, and I'd also like to see your own music, especially if you send the comment from the channel you also upload your music to. That way I can just go on the channel, I can just find your music, and I can like subscribe, and I can comment on your stuff as well, because I want to support small artists and that kind of thing, because I'm a small artist myself, and I think we should help each other out in a, not in a sub for sub way, but in a way where we genuinely enjoy one another's artworks. Yeah, I think that's about it. That's all I really needed to get across. It's getting quite dark, so I feel like I'm losing so much light that there's not much point in doing this. But you've seen what it's like to just try things out and express yourself and do things, and yeah, that's what I love doing, and I'm going to try and do it till the day I die. Thank you so much for watching this. Listen to the demo version. It's on the channel, so it's there. Yeah, because this is the last like 20 seconds of the video, so it's right there. It's on the, or maybe it's that side. Maybe, I don't know. It's one of the sides. Or maybe it's covering my face. Bye. Hey up. My name is Joshua Morrison. I'm someone that has lived in London pretty much my entire life, and I just kind of wanted to make a bit of a video about the way that London has kind of changed in the past sort of 8, 9, 10 years that I've been an adult and able to take in what London actually has to offer. So this isn't some kind of cohesive look at the changes of London by any stretch of the imagination. If you want that, certainly go for someone who's got a bit more experience than myself, because I'm only 25, so I'm still quite young. I'm not trying to act like I'm some kind of authority on this issue, but I can just tell you what I've kind of felt in the past, say 8, 9 years since I started going out and experiencing the overall culture of London independently of my parents, and just doing stuff on my own. So when I first became an adult, when I first turned 18, everyone would like to go to the pub, and we'd always be meeting up at the pub. And this was at a time, this was sort of 2017. So this was a time where it was already a big thing, like, oh, the price of pints is way too high. I actually went back and I looked at an old journal of mine from, I think, July 2017, and I go into a pub and I look at the price of Guinness and I go, £4.50 for a pint of Guinness, this is outrageous, and I refused to go in, and I made everyone go to a Wetherspoons and got the Guinness for like £1.80 or something like that, to the annoyance of all my friends, because I was a bit of a tight ass back then. Now it feels like everyone has kind of become that kind of tight ass, because now £4.50 for a pint of Guinness, that would be a good price. That would be you going, ooh, only £4.50 for a pint of Guinness. And that to me is kind of wrong. You know, for instance, you go to a chip shop, it used to be sort of £1.70, £1.80 for a portion of chips, and that still frustrated me because I remembered when I was sort of 7, 8, 9, being able to get them for about £1.20, £1.30. So it was already going up, and I felt like I was being ripped off. And then quite recently, I went to get some chips from the same chip shop. I didn't end up buying them because they were £3.50 for the small. It was like £4.80 for the large. Let alone, don't even ask me about getting fish. I'd love to get fish for my fish and chips, but you can't, because how much is a fish? It's something like £9, something ridiculous. I don't know the exact prices because I don't go and buy this stuff all the time. I'm not someone who eats out a lot. And I would eat out more if there was more encouragement put towards businesses, and businesses had lower overhead so that they were able to sell their product and their services for a lower price. For instance, not a popular policy at all, and enforced at a really strange time for a really strange reason. The eat out to help out thing that happened during COVID. Basically, it was if you go to a restaurant and you eat there, or you get delivery, you get it half price during the specific time. And the whole point of it was that it was meant to make businesses, survive the pandemic and that kind of thing, which, is a noble goal. It shouldn't really have allowed people to go into the restaurant. It should have been a delivery only thing. That would have been a good idea, but no, we have to kill, a couple dozen thousand people in the process. So, but the idea was a neat one. And if they did something like that now, I think it would be quite useful. And I think we would be seeing more people going out. Since about the late 80s, early 90s, I've been asking my parents and my family, my grandparents and other sort of older friends that I've got about what it was like in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s. And it did seem like the pub was the place that you go all the time. The idea of, drinking at home wasn't really a thing until about, I want to say the 90s, probably a bit earlier, probably the 80s. I'm not old enough to be able to verify this and or talk about it with any kind of authority, but it did seem like there was a shift from a communal area where everyone gets together and kind of has a drink, which obviously came with its own problems, like football hooliganism and fights breaking out, and certain bars, you got that flat roof pub that got built in the 70s and the 80s and the 60s and the 90s, which weren't very nice to go in. They were kind of dead sort of places where you would just have like one old man in the corner just reading a newspaper like that, and then two people playing darts, and Sky Sports playing on mute in the background while a really annoyed barmaid just sits here just doing this. Why did I get ya? That was more of an old man sort of voice. But anyway, you went from that to people going to the supermarket and buying their drinks at the supermarket and then going home and having their drinks there. So when I was drinking, I used to go to the supermarket and I could get 3 cans of Perlenbacher for about £2.89. And that would be probably about 20 quid's worth of drinks at the pub. At that time, it'd be like 25 quid's worth now. You take that home, you drink that on your own, and you're not with other people, you're not surrounded by a group of your peers, and not even just necessarily your own friends, but other people in your community that you can get talking to. You don't have that when you're at home. You're isolated from the rest of the world. You don't have that third place. So the idea of the third place, I can't remember who came up with it, some guy who's quite intelligent. So basically your first place is your home. Your second place is where you work, and your third place is somewhere else where you hang out that's not your house and not your work. So the pub would be a good example. If you go to a cafe regularly, it'd be that kind of thing. If you like to read in the library all the time, that would also be one. Church would even count as a third place, or mosque or whatever, right? Those would count as third places. So the third place in the 21st century has been on the decline, because everything has been coalescing around either the home or the workplace. And even then, the workplace is kind of merged in with the home, with working from home. So some people don't even have a second place, let alone a third place. what happens is kind of what you saw as a result of the pandemic. You saw a lot of people that suddenly became much less able to communicate how they felt and communicate just in general and socialize and get on and get out of the house. I know a lot of people who isolated themselves and continue to isolate themselves after the pandemic, and it kind of feels like you lose friends as a result just from. And I feel sorry for people who were actually in school at the time because they lost some of the best years of their life. You know, the years where you're meant to be going out all the time, begging some guy if they can help you buy some cigarettes underage or some alcohol underage, and then going around to the local park and passing around a can of Stella Artois that you top up with lemonade, going, "Oh, we're hard, aren't we? Look at us getting drunk on beers. Yeah. Do you want a cigarette, my fellow 15-year-old? Yeah, you like that?" He coughed, and then you would do that kind of thing. They're not going to have that now. Everyone's kind of more at home, and it's not like you can't socialize over the internet. You've got Discord, you've got Facebook, you've got Twitter, you've got social media in general. So it's not that it's completely gone, and I'm not trying to imply like modernity inherently is bad, but I am trying to get across that in the past, I'd say, well, in my entire lifetime, about 25 years, it feels like the community spirit has been waning all across England. Whenever I go anywhere, like up north, for instance, it feels like it's even worse than down here. Up north, there's always the stereotype that people in London don't talk to each other. I wouldn't say that's necessarily true. I mean, yesterday, I went to Lidl and I got some stuff, a bit of fruit, bit of veg, got a Greek yogurt, and I got frozen pizza to undo all the healthy stuff that I was just buying. And I got talking to Doug, who used to run the Duke of York open mic. I don't know why I forgot the name of that, the open mic. And I got talking to him. We had about a 15-minute conversation just on the side of the road. Talked about music, talked about other things. I asked him how he's doing. He's it's pretty good. And then we got into a bit of a chat. And he said, "Oh yeah, come down to the Northumberland Arms on Wednesday." So I'm considering it. I have to go and meet Hadid and Shivani, who are the co-director and the producer, possibly producer. We haven't confirmed all that yet, but might be the case. So I feel like there is a lot of community that happens within London, and I feel like you can get talking to people. I mean, I met someone on a bus. She came up to me and she started talking to me, and she was talking about people in London never really talk to one another, and I was like, yeah, I know. And we ended up going out for a drink after. A few days later, we caught up on Instagram and went out for a drink, and we had a lovely time. And it was just someone that I just met on a bus on a Saturday night coming home, and it was a good little time. I meet all sorts of people out and about, and I feel like as long as you're comfortable enough to get out there and put yourself out into these difficult situations, you can meet new people and find new friends. And I think the problem is that it's not that it's impossible, it's that it's too hard for some people. And that's not to say that people as a whole are getting weaker or anything like that, or less able, and it's up to them to toughen up. I feel like the lack of investment into our culture in the past probably 25 years, lack of funds for film and television, for the media, for the arts, for theatre, for things like that, for lack of interesting services. We're not prioritising building cafes and restaurants and theatres, cinemas, laser tag venues and bowleramas and arcades and stuff like this. Our high streets are becoming overrun by bookies, which I despise them. I've worked in a bookies, and I really would love nothing more than for the whole industry to be shut down, because it is nothing. It sells nothing, and all it does is it breaks apart communities. So you get that. You get charity shops, which, not to decry charity shops, I like charity shops. Then you've got just shops that no one goes into. You just see them all the time and they're shut. Or you see a cash converters, and it's like, okay, I like cash converters. I like getting a cheap PS3 game for 25 pence. I like being able to have a look in the camera section, see if they got any fun lenses. So there is good stuff still, and I don't want to act like the death of the high street has already happened and that it is no reviving it and it's hopeless, we shouldn't even try, because I don't think painting the world as grey as that is productive or beneficial to us. But at the same time, I do recognize that we shouldn't live in ignorance, and we shouldn't sit around going, oh yeah, well, you know, actually things are all right, you know, we got this, we got that, it's okay, we don't have to do anything. We do have to do something. But we can't sit around and act like it's too late, because if we do that, then it is too late and we can't get anything done. We can't improve our communities. Online shopping has caused the death of the high street, and it will slowly kill the high street. At the moment, the only reason people really go out is for supermarkets and clothes shops, and eventually they're going to come out with technologies that mean we don't need either of those things either. And already online shopping is something that many people do for their online supermarket shop. But a lot of people don't. I like going in there so I can have a look at what's on the yellow labels, seeing what deals are on, you know, and I like to chat to some of the people that I know at my local Lidl. You know, I've got people that I go in and I say hi to the security guy, you know, are you all right? You know, I say hi to a couple of people that work there on the till, and one of them asks me how I'm doing. I'm like, yeah, not too bad, how are you? And he's like, yeah, pretty good. You know, I've been going to the gym lately. I've started getting back into it. I'm like, oh, nice, yeah, I've been telling you, you got to get back into it. You're paying for the membership, you might as well. You know, you can get into these chats the same way that you can up north. It's not so intrinsically different that people from London are like this different species that don't like socializing. But I think the further that we slip down this rabbit hole of the slippery slope, of hiding ourselves away in our houses and allowing our high streets and our town centres and our community centres to crumble away and become irrelevant in the wake of online communities such as internet forums, such as Discord, such as like your VR things. Where I went to a friend's house and he put the VR on me, and we were in this monkey world, and I was wandering around. I didn't realize I was multiplayer, and this kid comes screeching up to me. I turn around, I actually scream, and he turns out to be a really nice young kid. He's like 7 years old, and he starts teaching me how to play the game. I was like, you don't need to do this. I'm beyond hopeless, right? This is my first time using VR. None of what you're teaching me is going to stick. You don't have to worry about me. Just go over and have some fun. He's like, no, it's no worry, it's no worry. I was like, that's so cute. That's such a nice little kid. And you still have these nice things, these nice parts of the world shine through if you allow them to. If you allow them, and if you just keep your eyes open for good things and for good-natured people, you will see them. But if you go around and just look for misery and turmoil and you know, the collapse of our nation, then you will find that, because there are significant problems with, for instance, creeping fascism coming into our society. It's getting into a bit of a different point, but I saw Nigel Farage a little clip from an interview with like Good Morning Britain or something like that, where he was basically decrying the right to a fair trial. He was like, ooh, isn't it so convenient? You know, when they say, oh, but they've got a right to a fair trial. It's like, oh, that's so convenient, isn't it? And I was like, that's not good. That's, no, thank you. I don't, please, right? No fascism around here, please, right? Don't want that. So there are problems. But if you go out and you just find the problems and you rile yourself up and you get yourself angry and you keep yourself isolated in your own home and you never leave and you keep yourself you know, separated from the rest of the world, it's you and the rest of the world, then it will feel like the world is against you, and it will feel like you're on your own in this big scary place. And obviously, I mean, if you come to London for the first time, you know, you won't have the deep-rooted community and the feeling that, say, I have, because I've been, you know, living in various parts of London my entire life, so I kind of know how things work. I understand if you're coming from somewhere else, you're not going to have that advantage. But at the same time, people in London are welcoming. They are nice people. And it's just about finding them. And it's about keeping yourself open to good-natured individuals. And, you know, you can find friends out there. And I trust you will. And I hope you do. And it's not that the world is going to fall apart immediately. It's going to fall very slowly. Britain is slowly crumbling. Our nation's services are getting worse. Our workers' rights are eroding. Our politicians are all veering to the right, and fascism is slowly creeping in. We seem to have no idea for our future with energy. We seem to be selling off all our assets. We seem to be allowing foreign multinationals and billionaires to come in and buy all our housing stock and our assets. And these are all problems that I have no solution to, that no one seems to have any solution to. And I don't know what we can do about them other than just try and live in the moment and just try and forget about it all for a little bit and hope that it's not going to get too bad. And if it does, then, and if this video doesn't age well and it all turns to shit and London truly becomes a place with no community, if the high street completely dies and all the pubs disappear and you know, there's no centre for people to get together and everyone's just stuck in their own houses drinking Perlenbacher and, you know, no one sees each other, no one becomes friends at school, everyone just goes to work and goes home again, then I don't know, it will be a sad day, I suppose, but I don't, it's not even that I can say I don't think it's going to happen, because I kind of think it will, but all you can do is live the happiest life you can and live your life for yourself and try and help others as well, and do that not to, you know, not for your own reward, for like, oh, I'm going to do this so it makes me feel good, but, you know, just knowing that other people, like, for instance, just to end on a bit of a positive note, I went to Isleworth probably about 6 years ago. I did this. And I got there about 2 hours early because I was waiting for someone, and I thought it said like 2, but it turned out it was 4 o'clock we were meant to be meeting. So I got there at 2, and I was like, I don't know what to do. So I went around and I kind of just acted like the town Spider-Man, like friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, essentially. Like what I'd do, I'd just wait at bus stops, for instance, and I saw an old woman come into the bus, and she was too far away, so I just kind of stood in the doorway of the stopped bus and pretended to sort of search for my wallet. I was like, oh, and then, you know, the old woman gets on and I'm like, thank you, and I got off. You know, I did stuff like that. I think I paid for someone's coffee, stuff like that, just little things, you know. And I walked away and I felt like beaming from the inside, and I didn't do it for that feeling. I did it just because I wanted other people to have that little thing in their head of, you know, someone's out there looking out for them, because, you know, in the past people have been out there looking for me. I have a pouch of tobacco that has, you know, like the kind of leathery kind of pouch sort of thing that you put your tobacco pouch into. I've got one of those that has a very sentimental meaning to me, something that I can't get into, but it's got serious sentimental value to myself. I lost it on the way home from work one time, and I was searching my pockets when I got home and searching my bag again and again and again. I was really freaking out because like, that had sentimental value to me, and it was a full pouch of tobacco, right? I went out back to work the next day, and on the way, I was praying that I maybe dropped it on the floor, and it might be on the floor somewhere. And where it was, someone had picked it up and placed it on a fence post. I didn't leave it on a fence post. Someone picked it up and put it on a fence post for me to find. And people walked past it and didn't take it. And so I put it in my pocket, and I felt like loved by the world at that point. There was another point, for instance, I got on a bus, and as I was getting my wallet out, this is about 8 years ago, like a £10 note flew out, and I didn't notice it as I rushed to get on this bus. And people pointed it out that I dropped this £10 note. The bus stopped. It had gone past the bus stop. The bus stopped and let me get off and get the £10 note and get back on. It waited for me. And that was, you know, that's the community spirit that I'm talking about. These things do happen. I've gotten on a bus before, and it was just me and the bus driver, and we got in a chat. We didn't like exchange numbers and become friends afterwards, but we had a chat. If it was a bus route I got more often, we could have become friends. There's a guy who drives, I think it's a 391 from like Clapham Junction to Fulham Broadway or something like that. And he always does the, you know, the bus stop thing in his own voice, and he always like points out little things. There was one time I sneezed, I had hay fever, and I really sneezed, and I was on this bus, and he turned and the intercom thing came on and went, bless you. I was like, that's so nice. See, this is what I'm talking about. This feeling of community within London is there, and you can find it. And it does feel like it's trying to be stolen from us by our government. and all we can do is hold on to it and cherish it for dear life, because if we lose it, then we lose our soul as a people. I think that's going to be it. Thank you so much for watching. I've actually got another video that started getting a few views, so I thought I'd do another video on this similar kind of topic. That one was a bit of a downer one, so I wanted to do one that was a bit more light, bar the topic of fascism. Yeah, I thought I'd just do a bit of a happier one, because this is a topic I don't really see brought up all that often, and I wanted to start a dialogue about it. So any nice experiences that you've had out and about, it doesn't have to be in London, can be anywhere, preferably in a city, because I'm trying to get across the idea that cities aren't these places where no one talks to anyone and you can't have any fun. I'm trying to dispel that myth. So any stories that you've got, I'd love to hear them. Any criticisms of the video, please let me know. You know, let's have a dialogue about this kind of thing. And I'm going to head off, put this video together, and I'll try and get it out by today. I've got to start filming the first scene of Jonny Mozza's Lessons in Confidence. I'm going to the Cross Lances, and I'm going to be playing a couple songs that I've written for my album, that are real songs that I've written. They're not like fake songs for the character. But one of them, I look at the lyrics, I'm like, Jesus Christ, these are some pretentious lyrics. So I thought that would be kind of fun, that he would write such pretentious lyrics. And I've set up the entire backing track, and I've got everything ready to go. I'm going to go back and practice it. I might upload a clip of me practicing as well. This channel, by the way, is just a channel for me to express myself and what I want, and also promote this film, Jonny Mozza's Lessons in Confidence, whilst it's being made, so that when it comes out, you can enjoy it. Because it is going to be coming on YouTube. It's one of those kind of folk films, in the same vein as stuff like Joel Haver's sort of films, or Doom Productions, or that kind of thing. Or The Man from Earth, I think, which was the original sort of free-ish film, which was released on pirate torrenting. The director put it on torrenting websites, and at the beginning of the film there's this little clip of him basically saying, this is an experiment, this is the world's biggest experiment in the honor system. So, you know, if you like the film and you enjoy it, please just go to our website, just chuck us a couple dollars or whatever. You don't have to, but it'd be interesting to see. And I like that idea of, you know, not making something necessarily for profit, but making something because you've got a voice and you want to get your voice out there. Not even necessarily to be heard, but just to, you know, because it kind of helps you understand your own point of view. So thank you so much for watching this. Love you all. Take care. Have a great day. Go out there. Say hi to the guy at the counter at your local shop. Ask them how they're doing. You know, if you're on a bus, you know, maybe don't like go up to someone with headphones on because they want to get away from stuff. But if you get put into weird situations, just go with the flow. I might actually make a video about being put in weird situations. That'll be fun. So I'm going to head off. Thank you very much for watching this. Take care. Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Jonny Mozza's Lessons in Confidence. Today I'm here with Eva, who is the costume designer on Jonny Mozza's Lessons in Confidence. We've just gone to a shop. We've gone to a shop in Tottenham Court Road, which you actually got me onto.
Yes.
Do you want to tell them about the shop a wee bit, because it's amazing?
It was the Goldsmith Vintage Store, and it's just before Foyles in Tottenham Court Road. 14.93, I think, every single piece, and you have like a huge selection of everything. Every week there's new products coming in. Big possibilities for anyone who wants to do costumes and wants like a very quick, easy access to like base clothes and everything. Like anything weird, you will find it there.
Like for instance, got this, right?
Yes.
Which is this kind of turquoise, really light bit of trouser. If you see it, it's so thin. It's absolutely, it's just amazing. This is going to be worn by a character played by Lee Westwick, who probably going to be called Colin Doherty. So you got that kind of thing.
There's so much potential in this to make the belt loops, make stencils, styling it. Like it's perfect for the character.
Because you were talking about as well, like having ties to be like the belt.
Yes. I have like really nice big golden belt loops going like around. Just like to give it more of a pizzazz going on.
Because Colin's sort of whole thing is he's very into his Motown, his 60s and 70s R&B. He's the kind of guy that would like Earth, Wind and Fire, you know, that kind of thing. So he'd wear that kind of thing.
It's like a really nice flashy one.
You got this as well. They just look like jeans, but watch this.
A surprise. Like a really nice thick cotle in the front. Very bright, bell bottoms, perfect for what we need. Perfect for platform shoes, like full on styling this. Bright shirt, a bright button shirt on top. It just screams Motown, it just screams like.
Especially with the bell bottoms, they really scream 70s. And then we got this as well to go with Eddie's, particularly with this kind of thing. So you see that? We've done a bit of a test on it to make sure that the blue and the iridescence really comes through, and I think the iridescence really comes through. It's such a fun sort of thing. It feels like someone that is walking around who really is quite sure of themselves and their own personality.
You have like the really dark color at the top, the really bright color at the bottom, and then a mid-tone blue, like going on between, like a loud pattern, but muted enough to actually like tie everything together.
That is so. Oh, I can't wait for Lee to try these on.
Like the scene on the performance of Jonny and how the light's gonna hit it.
So this is the stuff. Did we get anything else for? No, that was everything we got for Eddie. I'm taking that one as well.
Yes, we had a very big success on the bottoms, not so much on the tops, but we are not stopping. We are not stopping.
For shirts and stuff, he would be wearing a lot of very bright colours. This kind of shirt, but obviously not this like English teacher kind of shirt. He'd be wearing not Hawaiian, but you know, very
like
vibrant neon
patterns, 70s patterns going on.
Exactly, and possibly with like quite big collars. He'd, you know, I can't touch too much because of the lav mic, but you know, that kind of thing with it going out quite far. I imagine he's quite a spiky person.
Yes, like baggy, a little bit of slouchy, big sleeves. Just, here's this going on, having a really nice silhouette about him.
Oh yeah, he would have such a great silhouette, especially with the bell bottoms coming out like.
Yes, the bell bottoms, you know? And the like. Honestly, if I can find wooden shoes, like a wooden platform, like very high clogs, yes, I think it will look really good on him.
I'm sorry about this and the noise. We're in central London. You can't find anywhere quiet around here. Anyway,
it's okay. We make it work.
I can put these back in the bag.
Yep.
So next up, we're going to discuss Jonny Mozza's character, who is great because because I'm playing him, I can just go up and just.
Yeah, we started with a different vision, and then the clothes just found us.
Yeah, that's what you get by doing stuff. If you go out and plan everything, you would never have gotten something like this kind of snakeskin leopard kind of thing.
Yeah, a little bit of iridescent on top on the snake scales, and then there's another pattern underneath. There's so much room for alteration, make it a little bit darker, painting some leopard print top, making like a faded stencil, just like to give it more character. Because these are his performance pants.
Yeah, these are the trousers that he's going to be wearing for the big gig at the end of the film. So he's really putting his effort in. He thinks that this is the biggest day of his life, as far as he's concerned. So he's got this, which they're so fun. They're so rock star. When I was wearing them, I was all like, well, it felt so fun to do that. So I love your ideas in terms of adding to it and like making these more vibrant as well.
Yes, like a really nice belt, like a shirt. We're still thinking about the top that's gonna go with this one. Maybe we are not quite really like nailed it down, but a little bit of research, so maybe like some layer of mesh and then another thing on top.
But for this particular outfit, definitely something quite loud.
Yes.
And a bit over the top loud, because Jonny is someone that is very image conscious, but he's also you know, he doesn't have the greatest sense of identity, despite being so image conscious. So something that would maybe even a little bit mismatching, because this band is going to be a band of misfits. I mean, you've seen Eddie's costumes, and they're so different from this. And we got this as well, which are these
really nice leather trousers.
Yeah.
A little bit short, but that doesn't faze us.
Yeah. Look,
Nothing a little bit of.
I'll show you. At the moment, they're kind of fisherman's
Length.
punk. But what Eva was talking about doing was extending these down, and I was kind of like, "What? You can just do that?" I was like, yeah.
So just an extra piece of leather, stitched around, boom, you have long trousers now.
It wouldn't even need to be the same kind of leather. If it was a different kind of leather, I think it would add to like the fact he extended them.
Yeah, it's gonna look like even more DIY. Like he literally couldn't find something in his size that he liked, and he's just DIYing things.
Yeah, like he would do a lot of his clothing himself. You know how the Sex Pistols had Vivienne Westwood, who
Making
designed a
their
lot of
clothes
their
for them.
outfits. Jonny Mozza would be his own Vivienne Westwood in a way. Well, you're the Vivienne Westwood of this.
And basically we're talking about like make it even louder, because he's trying hard. He's trying hard to get in the world and like show who he is. Maybe like a really nice illustration based on a traditional American tattoos of like a tiger or a panther going up his side, just so like it's loud, like I'm here, look at me, look at my trousers, I'm someone, I belong on a stage, I'm an artist.
And it's also fun because he's someone that wouldn't actually have a clue about Native American culture or anything like that, so he's kind of appropriating it for himself, which draws into his own sense of ego.
Yeah.
Which, for the tops for Jonny Mozza for a lot of the film, my dad has some amazing fucking t-shirts. He's got like Queen t-shirts and Status Quo t-shirts and stuff like that. And they are from the 70s, so they're all very worn, they're very old, and they're a lot
Like
of fun.
you can see the word in them, you can see the word in the stencil.
And then Eva has got this amazing jacket.
Yeah. Thank God with leather jackets, both of us, we have plenty for the whole character.
It's a bit of a pilot sort of jacket.
Original Lufthansa. Honestly, it's my father's. I don't even know like what decade he got it from, but it's been even quite in the family.
Got a bit of this. I feel like I'm like a model right now.
Yeah, like very nice, well worn, and he still has some Velcro over here, so maybe we can put like some patches going on.
Yeah, definitely some fun patches that would maybe of different bands, that kind of thing.
Yeah, bands that he wants people to think that he listens like all the time, even though maybe he's not.
Well, I like the idea that he tries to give off the image that he's into all kind of punk and the Ramones and Sex Pistols and stuff, but in his own spare time, his real love for music comes into bands like Genesis or Yes or King Crimson, these very prog rock bands that someone that was into the punk scene would not accept. They would, if Jonny Mozza was in the 70s and he walked up to a punk gig and
Like
he started talking about Genesis, he'd get laughed out of the fucking venue.
Like, what are you doing here? Like, get out. This is not the scene for you.
Yeah, if you want to have your 20-minute wanky guitar solos, go somewhere else. Go to, Soho or Fitzrovia, where they recorded a lot of the. I think they recorded a lot of the Yes albums in Fitzrovia, which gives you an idea into what kind of band they were. So it's.
But yeah. And there are plenty more leather jackets in both of our wardrobes, so we're gonna see like what fits to its character better.
And this is why it's so great to have you on board. It's so great to have someone that has like this understanding of
like subcultures
and
yeah.
Because I'm not, as you can tell, I'm not a particularly very particularly well dressed person. I just kind of wear what I wear. I go and buy like plain white, brown, red, all that kind of t-shirts. So it's so great to have you on board, just doing this kind of enloudening of these characters.
Yes, like even that's why I love to work like in person with directors and producers, because they know their characters better, especially like since you written the characters and you are being Jonny Mozza, like you know the vibe. And the vibe is honestly like the most important thing. Like the clothes, you can find a really nice base, full on alterations, full like sewing on top, drawing on top, doing a little bit of embroidery, and you bring something completely new out of it. But you just need to have the right vibes, the right person, and it's gonna come out naturally.
Alright, and is there anything that like you'd like to promote your own work and so on, or like your own social medias or whatever, just so that people can check you out, or like hire you and all that kind of stuff?
Yes, please. So shameless, like self-promo here. I mainly use my Instagram a lot for anything costume related. It's under the handle Black House Guild. So this is where I post like strictly costume stuff. So if anyone wants to go and see some of the other projects I've done, they're there. I need to update a lot more because there's a lot more going on that I haven't uploaded yet. But yeah, I need to go and do that as soon as possible.
And all the links will be in the description. So if you go down there, just click on all of them, check either out, and
And if anyone wants alterations and anything for their movies, I'm always free.
So I think that's going to be it. Thank you all so much for watching this and joining us on this journey, making this film, Jonny Mozza's Lessons in Confidence. I can't wait for you all to see it. It's shaping up to be such a fun project, and we've got so many amazing people on board. And I'd like to do more of this kind of thing, bring in on various people to show off the personalities that are on board, because it's so fun doing this with so many people and collaborating. That's what film is so good for.
Such a nice project, different project, like going out there, like people who know about their subcultures and music, and just yes.
Because I know sort of the music side, but I don't really know the fashion side. I've only recently started even looking at that stuff. I didn't even realize that Led Zeppelin were wearing like quite plain clothes. I thought that they just wore whatever. I didn't think about this stuff until so recently, and it's so fun to actually explore this new world of fashion in this sort of sense. It's such a weird, fun kind of fashion, like free fashion, I'm gonna call it. It's probably got a name.
Yeah, because like that's the amazing thing with music subcultures. The fashion follows the music. It's not the other way around. Like it's not like you don't wear something and not listen to the music. Like you have to live the lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that's what basically like Jonny Mozza's Lessons in Confidence is, like learning to actually be himself, living in his own style of music, just trying to be out there and finding that in the end of the day, no matter how hard you try, if it's not you, it's not, like people say it, no matter how many lights, how many stage lights you have on you.
I think with that message, we're going to close this video out. Love you all, and we'll see you on the other side.
Bye bye.
Take care.